Hello ladies and gentlemen, Joseph Mogel here again, another video for you writers out there. Now I'm going to be continuing with the thread that I've been doing for the last couple of videos, and today's video is on networking. Okay, so what's the difference between networking and advertising? In advertising, you're trying to get something out, a message of some kind out, to as large a number of people as possible. You're trying to get that message way out there. Think billboard, right? That's advertising. Networking is making very specific, singular connections with another individual. You generally want to network with writers, editors, critics, reviewers. That way you have ins with these people. You can get a book reviewed before the review goes to the general market, so you can kind of go, okay, well, make sure that this is good. Or network with editors so you'll know that an anthology is going to be coming up, open for submissions before the general anthology call goes out, or if you know in advance whether the publishing house is looking for a specific type of novel, specific type of novella, little things like that. Networking with other writers, because writers try to network with critics, reviewers, and editors, networking with other writers makes sense because your other writers are going to have connections there as well. I've worked with other writers where they've gone, hey, Joe, there's this publishing house that's going to be putting out an anthology on subject X, Y, and Z. I think it's right up your alley. We're going to give them take a look. And I have for other authors gone, hey, you know, this novella you're writing is great. I think I know a publishing house would be a great place to submit this. I could talk to the editor and send them an email in advance saying, hey, you know, so-and-so is a friend of mine. They've written this really great novella. You should take a look at it. It's one head washes the other. It's something where you, as a writer, are going to make connections with other writers. And there's kind of like some of the classic unwritten rules. You know, you help another writer who has helped you. You don't stab someone in the back and things like that. Avoid high school drama, but make connections to specific other people. Now, there are a number of ways to do this. Most obvious is through publishers' web pages. Send emails. In this day and age, the worst thing that can happen is the email goes to their spam box. Ooh. Don't worry about sending emails. Get to know people. I know all my editors on a first-name basis. That's a good thing. It means I can send an email and say, hey, Robert, I've got an idea for X, Y, and Z. What do you think? Do you think this is something your publishing house would be interested in? I have this idea for a project. Hey, Rose, I've got this idea. What do you think? It gives you a connection. When you know someone by first-name basis, you've got a connection that you otherwise wouldn't have. And that's a really important thing, particularly these days where you don't always have connections to people. With our marvelous technology, we have actually grown more distant from our fellow human beings. So making these personal connections is really important, particularly in a field like writing, where the chances that you're going to make it big and 100% of your income will come from your writing is very small. The more you network, the greater percentage of your income can be from your writing, and that will give you more free time to focus on your writing. So it's that cycle I spoke about in a previous video. So, networking. Publishers' web pages. It's a great place to get started. Send emails. Ask questions. Get to know people. It's very, very simple. The next thing you can look at are social media. Reddit. There are tons of pages on Reddit for writers. Hell, the name, Reddit. I've read it. It's in the name. Granted, it's bad grammar, but that's beside the point. The point is that it's an opportunity to connect with other writers. You don't necessarily need to meet someone in person to get to know them. You can speak with them on the phone, exchange a whole bunch of emails. There are people that I work with, there are a couple editors I've worked with. I've never met them in person. We've exchanged dozens of emails. I've spoke to some of them on the phone. You get to know people. You don't necessarily need to sit down and have dinner with someone to get to know them. And that's the point. Get to know people. That being said, actual face-to-face time is probably the most important form of connecting with someone. So as great as DeviantArt, Tumblr, YouTube, Reddit might be for connecting with other writers, finding writers groups, writers blogs, writers vlogs, writers pages, having a physical group of people who get together every so often to sit down and talk about writing things in person is probably your best bet. And for that, take a look on Craigslist. Take a look at, there's a website called meetup.com. These are really great places to find out the nearest writers groups to where you live. There are writers groups all throughout the country. And if you don't want to go on these web pages, if you don't know, I don't really want to trust Craigslist, go to your local library. Most libraries have information about local writers groups, largely because a lot of the writers are connected with the library. You gotta make sense. You're a writer, you're a place where there's a lot of books. It kind of goes together. Get connected. Talk to people. You'll find there are writers' conventions. I live in the Northeast. I live in New England. We have a convention every year called BossCon. A BossCon is a literary convention. Most of these big conventions in the Northeast have some literary component. Even things like anime conventions have a literary component. There are actually people who do writers' panels. I've done writers' panels at anime conventions before. It is a great place to connect to people. And trust me, if you go to a writer's panel, there's nothing the person who's running the panel wants more than for people to come up to them after the panel with more questions. It lets us know, for those of us who have done panels like this, that you were paying attention, that you're interested, and that you have more things to ask us. It's a wonderful feeling for us panelists. For you guys out there who would be sitting in the panel, or perhaps someday contemplating running a panel of your own, going to one of these and checking it out is probably a good idea. You can get information, find out about conventions in your area, find out about literary conventions, find out about anime and sci-fi conventions. Check their schedules. They put a list of all the panels that they have, all the different things that they do online. You can find plenty of conventions that have a panel specifically for writers. I've gotten connected with publishing houses through some of these panels. There's a publisher who's doing an editor who owns a publishing house who's doing a panel. You hang out and chat with them afterwards. Hey, I write in this genre. What do you think of this? I have this idea. I published this story. I published that story. I work with these people. Oh, that's really cool. Would you be interested in working with this? It happens. But unless you actually go and you talk to people, the probability of it happening gets smaller. So don't be afraid of networking. Find writers groups. Send emails. Send emails to publishers. Ask them questions. They want to hear from you. Go to conventions if there's one in your area and if the convention has writers panels. Most of them do. Don't be afraid to use social media. There are plenty of writers groups online through things like Tumblr, Facebook. YouTube has tons of writers vlogs like this one. There are all sorts of opportunities for you to connect with people to get that into writing, which is oh so important for someone who's never published before. If you're a first-time author, you need to network even more so, because that's probably going to be the way you get in. All right, that's all I got to say for now. Now let's see if I can get this right for once. Oh, almost. So like and subscribe below. If you have any questions, my email address is on my YouTube page. You can also get my email address via my website, which the hyperlink is in the description below. So check out my website. If you have any questions, send me an email. I will answer. I will answer with a video. All right. I think I've rambled enough. Thanks and cheers.